Well, Julian Castro is making his first trip as a presidential candidate today. The former San Antonio mayor and Secretary of Housing and Urban Development is in Puerto Rico today.
He's delivering remarks and meeting with community leaders and officials. Castro announced he's running for president over the weekend, and he talked to Face the Nation moderator Margaret Brennan about his new campaign.
I would just say to the American people directly, I've had executive experience. I've led one of the largest, most diverse cities in the country. I've led a federal agency at HUD and done some great work to expand opportunity. I know what it takes to ensure that we have a government that functions well and to help inspire people. I also have a life experience that I think resonates with a lot of Americans. You know, I'm here in my neighborhood that I grew up in. Grew up in a single-parent household, went to the public schools here in San Antonio, was able to go to college and law school and to reach my American dream. And I am motivated to make sure that every American can reach their dreams.
All right, for more on this, let's bring in our friend Alana Rocha. She's a multimedia reporter for the Texas Tribune, and she's with us now from Austin, Texas. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
So, Julian Castro is considered one of the most high-profile Latino Democrats to seek the party's presidential nomination. I mean, I know it's so early, and we're all trying to sort of figure out what this horse race is going to look like. Just break it down. I mean, he mentioned what he brings to the table. That's fine. That's his own opinion about himself. What do people in Texas think? What's the word on the street?
Yeah, well, unfortunately for him, the word on the street, how his candidacy, were rather in the same sentence, talking about his official run, whether or not another fellow Texas Democrat, former now Congressman Beto O'Rourke, whether or not he'll run and capitalize on the momentum he saw in the 2018 in terms of his narrower than expected loss to Republican U.S. Senator Ted Cruz.
So on the Face of the Nation, Castro said that the president had created a tragedy at the border. How were his comments on immigration and the situation at the southern border playing out there?
Well, I mean, his statement announcement on Saturday in San Antonio, you know, he listed a slew of progressive priorities and positions counter to the president. And one of those lines from his speech, I believe, was something like, you know, we build communities, not walls. And as you said, he's down in Puerto Rico looking at the disaster relief there and saying that the president has failed that U.S. territory and the people down there. And I believe our dispatch from there this morning, Patrick Spitek, wrote that he was asked about how the president has toyed with using disaster relief funds to build a wall, and he called it immoral among a list of adjectives along those lines. To any thought of using that to build a wall.
So, Alana, you know, one of the things that I'm going to be curious about as more and more of these Democrats start to declare their candidacy for the presidency is to see what kind of vetting has been done. And for some of them who've already been in Congress or who've been mayors, or in Julian Castro's case, he's been a mayor and a government official, I'm guessing that the vetting has been pretty solid, but give us a sense of his time as San Antonio's mayor, and if there's anything that people are going to sort of take a step back and say, well, wait a minute, you know, here's something where it might be a problem for him down the line, or they're going to look at his time as the mayor and say, you know, everything he did, you know, was the right thing, and to do it on a national scale would be great.
Yeah, I doubt the latter is likely. Just, you know, you're running nationwide. He is going to be under much more scrutiny. He highlighted much of his tenure as San Antonio's mayor in his Saturday speech, saying, you know, we took pre-K citywide here. We want to do that on a national scale as far as providing universal pre-K and just the emphasis on the importance of early education. You know, not a lot of controversy when he was mayor. When he was HUD secretary, of course, special counsel found that he was in violation of the Hatch Act, that he advocated for Hillary Clinton's nomination in an official capacity. He wasn't penalized by then President Obama, and you know, he apologized for those. So that could maybe come back to haunt him. But you know, there'll be a lot of digging. You know, one thing too with Castro is he's not tested statewide. He talks about being mayor of one of the most diverse cities in the country, which is true, in one of the most diverse states in the country. But he's not tested statewide like Beto O'Rourke has been tested. So that'll be something to see how that, you know, how he fares.
So you brought up his support for Hillary Clinton. Obviously, he's pretty close with President Obama as well, having worked for him. Are those connections likely to hurt or help him?
It depends. Of course, Hillary Clinton is still a talking point for President Trump, and I doubt that'll waver too much or diminish too much by 2020, considering how much he's still talking about it or talking about his former opponent. So yeah, it might not favor him, but I think president support and seeing how maybe he takes to the stage that being President Obama in 2020, I think could be to his benefit given his popularity.
All right, Alana Rocha, thank you so much.